wanted to talk to you about now. It's been like hours since I came up with this stuff.
I'm sure you'll come up with it. Which one of you is leading?
I'd say he's the real host. So
you want me to lead?
Yeah, you gotta do your thing.
Okay.
You got this.
Oh, do you want me to lead myself in?
I could, if you want to. That'd be kind of funny.
I'm not doing that.
I'm like, here we go with Brian Hunter. He has
I've been
absolutely nothing to talk about stats-wise, but he's now the bat boy for the Thunderbirds.
Welcome back to a new edition of the 3 Up, 3 Down podcast. I'm your host, Brian Hunter. It's my co-host, Quentin Meyer. And finally, for the love of God, our third member of our production team, Mr. Jason Worstenholm.
Woo! Yay!
So how's it feel to finally be on?
Oh my gosh, dude! I what did I text you at like 2 a.m. last time I was supposed to be on because I was not feeling well. So I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this. I think just about everybody said it, but you guys are doing an awesome job with the podcast. I know I've kind of texted you personally and just said how much the production quality of this podcast even motivates me to do my own stuff, and I know you help out a lot as well. But I had texted him personally. That's why I was directing it at him. But
I share everything with you.
No, yeah. So yeah, I really do. It does help motivate me because, you know, for a long time I was kind of the heart and soul of all the content, and so to see good content be pushed out, you know, and I appreciate you guys' consistency. You know, the every week podcast, still having a host that talks about his championship on every podcast. You know, it's nice to have a lot of consistency in the league, both in content and, you know.
You never know how many you're going to get, so you got to cherish the one as long as you can.
We've gotten to the point now where he knows if I just start talking over him and just get louder, he knows he's rambling or talking about it too much.
Just time to shut up.
No, I had to take the dig at him, you know.
That's all right.
You know,
That's
it's the dig Cam had to live with for a couple years as well about always talking about his championship, so now we're passing it along. So, but no, I do appreciate the content you guys are.
We got to have at least one.
Yeah, we got to have at least one. I'm going to try to respect Brian in his own house, but Q's fair game tonight.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. So, 2023 champ, multiple-time All-Star, career 257 hitter, 29 career bombs, 87 RBI, and only 8 hits away from 100 for your career in MO WIFF.
Nice.
Dang, you can hit a wiffle ball.
Yep. So that ranks you third in all three of those categories when it comes to homers, RBIs, and hits.
That's pretty cool. Is that playoffs and regular season?
Whatever the career tab is in the stat line. So
okay, so I think it is playoffs as well.
It does include playoffs, I believe.
That's why those stats sounded foreign to me. I just usually look at the season ones because I think about like real sports, you know, where you're like, oh, what only happens in the season matters.
I'm the same way too, but I mean, then it becomes math, and math is hard apparently. So, you know, it's just one of those things where just easy peasy, look at it. Okay.
No, yeah, there's different tabs on the website, but I can show you how to use it later. It's fine.
I know, but then you gotta add it all. Then you gotta add it all together and remove everything. It's just,
I got you.
It's right there for me. All right.
Yep, you're good.
But that's how all the big stats have been going. You know, Cam when he got a 600 strikeout, Cole when he got his 100th hit. You know, everything that way. But no, man, how's your off season been?
It's been good. It's been good. It started off rookie Josh Wheeler, buddy of mine, as you mentioned on the podcast he was on. He kind of got into this through me, and so we spent some time early in the off season. I was throwing a little bit, he was throwing quite a bit, but kind of taking BP off each other, things like that. It was kind of just like, I don't know, a spark for wanting to play, you know, and get going. This is probably the first off season I've really put any kind of effort in. Unfortunately, Missouri was Missouri, and then we've had like nothing but terrible weather for like 2-3 months, it feels like now. So it's been a little bit slower lately. I did kind of convert back to having a home gym to try and get in better shape. Not really for wiffle ball, but it helps.
Yeah, talking about Missouri weather, it rained dirt last night.
Yeah, it did.
That makes sense. I was wondering why my truck was so dirty.
Yeah. Dude, I just got my car washed yesterday because I drove by Dom's house, and he lives on a gravel road. You know, all the snow and ice and everything. It was just, I mean, I just said, screw it, and just like, I can go buy the car wash on the way home. Walk out this morning, look at my car, and I was like,
you should have got one of those ones that's got the guarantee. Like,
I've got a membership at club or whatever
guy.
it is. So $20. It's the discount deal. All right, no, rich guy, just take advantage of the deal.
Rich guy, fancy couch, fancy car wash.
Had the couch for 10
fancy
years.
podcast setup, fancy car wash deal. I get it. I get it. Some of us have to earn our car washes through Auto Spa, etc. But you can just pay for the membership. That's fine. That's cool.
You've earned your fair share of those.
I actually don't think I've earned any, actually.
Really?
I don't think I've ever been player of the week since Auto Spa took over.
Wow.
Yeah. I think every week
I
think every week I've played well, someone on my team has played better and won it. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
Fun fact for you.
Since you're in the division with me, I hope that continues and you don't win one.
Well, that would mean that multiple people are going to play well. So.
As your friend, though, I want to see you win one.
Okay. That's fair. I don't
Just
think
not
it's
against me.
near us, but that's... Hey. I don't think those car washes are near us, but
No,
that's
they're
unfortunate.
It don't matter.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll send you it. Hopefully I get it against you, and then I'll mail it to you. I'm going to pay to mail it. I'm not going to bring it to your house. I'm going to pay to mail you the player of the week.
4 miles away.
Yeah, I actually think it took me longer. Like, I was looking at the map, and I think it's, like, considerably... If I could drive straight to your house, I'd be here in, like, a minute. But because it makes me drive all the way around to get here, it's like
It's
5.
1.2 miles.
It was like
straight
5
line
minutes.
From your house to mine because I
Yeah.
was looking at it.
Yeah, we're pretty close, so...
And you're like 2.8 miles.
Something like that, yeah.
Straight line.
I didn't know you were that close either.
Yeah.
That's pretty
I
cool.
was over there down by the movie theater.
I do.
That must be the smell.
Oh, shit. Oh, Q. Got a question for him?
Wow. So this is your 5th season as the captain of the Melonheads. So what's the difference between this year's team and last year's team?
I would say that, well, between this year's team and last year's team, it's night and day. I said it at the draft, and I guess I can repeat myself here that, I just felt like last year was unacceptable. And honestly, I took on even more responsibility with my company, and then we just weren't any good last year. And I was probably at, I would say, an all-time low for motivation to both play and do a lot of stuff, both being busy in real life, and we just didn't play well. So it was hard to, be excited each week. It was kind of one of those things that when it came time to all-star voting, I was actually prepared to not vote for myself because I was like, oh, I had a terrible season. And until I actually started sorting by our division, I realized, I led the division in hits. And so I didn't even know I had a decent season because I was just that disconnected. So, kind of like I said with Josh getting into the league, he played at the MO WIFF Classic with me, and he had always expressed interest in the league but lived out of state. So him kind of playing in that tournament, I played with Dom, I played with Bryson, who we drafted, I played with Josh, and that was kind of like re-awoke the flame to play, because it was kind of like I realized it wasn't wiffle ball I was sick of, it was playing non-competitive games. And that was really what I realized was my issue, was that like when we got out there and started to compete again, it was all back. The fire, the trash talk, everything. I was like, I'm ready to go. Like, I love this again. So it really, that kind of woke me back up. And then just, having Josh to text on a regular basis and kind of keep me talking, and then you guys doing, what you're doing, it does. It all around, the league just feels like it's in a great place, which then motivates me even more to do as much as I can. So, yeah, I mean, for me personally, there's been a lot of change, and then obviously we've added 2 good players, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point in here. But
it's coming right down.
but
coming right down
yeah,
right
so I mean, our roster's looking solid, and we've brought back a lot of good players. So I'll let you ask your question. We can get into it then.
So I want to know what kind of what did it take to sign both Jordan Smith and Ryan over here?
Yeah, so that's
what kind of favors, what kind of stuff do you need to buy? What do you have to do?
No,
gift certificates,
so,
cash under the table. What was it to make it happen?
No, I think that people have missed the fact that year 1 of the miracle going to UWIFs, I played with Jordan, and then my second year at UWIFs, I played with Ryan O'Rear. So both of them I've competed on a bigger stage with than Mo WIFF and been teammates with through tough games, and so I think that, that has shown, not only do you build a relationship when you travel, I mean, you guys traveled this year, so you guys, you kind of get to know people on a different level.
That's where the podcast
Yeah, you get to know people on a different level, but then also, like, in that situation, we got to see what it was like to be teammates, and that's against some of the best competition in the world, and so, actually, there had been more conversation about Jordan, Ryan, and I trying to play together at some point at Skibby. And we had always talked about, like, it'd be fun to all play together, because we just enjoyed each other as company. And Skibby's pretty laid back, and a lot of, like, their rules for free agency are, they don't really have rules. So we had always kind of talked about, like, if we could ever get a chance to play together, we would try to do it. And so it then turned into, this Mo Wiff situation, which, I heard the rumor mid-season that Jordan was going to, test free agency. I had always kind of known that when Jordan stepped down, he was interested in,
Right.
Moving around a little bit, just to play with different guys. And they even said it on the podcast. Like, they want to play with different people. So, like, I knew I had a chance there because I felt like Jordan and I were good friends. And so with Jordan, I was more prepared because it was more obvious it was going to happen. And so you can actually ask Caleb and Tony Cochran the year before. I am very prepared for free agency. So the year that Tony Cochran went to the Archers and the year Caleb left me, both of them I had videos prepared. So as soon as someone said, yep, free agency started, those videos were ready to send. I had notes in my phone typed up of exactly what I wanted to say, copied and pasted, sent it to them immediately. So I was actually at a local baseball club's meeting that night. And so I had all that stuff ready to go for Jordan because I knew, like, hey, I'm not going to be at the All-Star game to talk to him. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I remember I had it all, like, I saw the time and I was like, okay, cool. And I hit send. And then, like, the service in there was really bad. And I'm watching it, like, not send. I'm like, oh my God, dude, is Jordan going to think that I didn't even take the time to send this to him? Like, I'm like, please go, please go. And so it eventually went. And so Jordan and I had, he had a good conversation. He said he was, right off the bat was very interested in playing with me, but he wanted to see what everybody else had to offer, and he said he was going to let every team approach him and talk to him, and I said, that's cool, just let me know. I said, I don't want to put any pressure on you. I want you to make the decision that's right for you. I said, but obviously, I really want you. And so as I'm sitting through this team meeting, there comes a point that where they just stand up and just start talking to their coaches, and we're just kind of sitting there doing nothing. And so it is what it is. But during this time, Jordan and I start texting a little bit. He's at the All-Star game. I'm not. So he's kind of like periodically texting me. He kind of mentions to me that Ryan O'Rear is a free agent. And I honestly did not know that Ryan O'Rear was going to be a free agent. Because Cam, I think like a few hours before free agency said, hey, these are all the guys not signed. And I made a joke like, oh, Cole, better sign your guy. Like, I genuinely assumed it was just a formality that Cole was going to sign Ryan. And so Jordan kind of texted me and said, hey, O'Rear's a free agent. You should reach out to him. He's expressed interest in playing with me. If you can convince him, we can kind of come as a package deal. And I was like, well, you're selling me on what I guess I should be selling you on. But no. And so then I talked to Ryan and kind of just, actually it's funny because even though I've played with him before and he's played even in a skibby tournament with me before, I didn't have his phone number. So I messaged him on Facebook. And I think the last time I had texted him was...
you slid into his DMs.
I slid into Ryan O'Rear's DMs, as many of you may have expected. But no, so it was funny because the last message I had sent to him was earlier in the season when I was doing the highlight video. It was like week 3 or 4, and like I had just noticed the trend that he was making contact off everybody. Every pitcher he was facing, he was making contact off of. And so the last message I had to him was like, dude, you're hitting everyone. Like you're looking nuts this year. And he had just said, oh, thanks, means a lot. And that was like the whole conversation. And so I just messaged him and I was like, dude, you're a free agent. And that's like all I said. He goes, yeah, I told Cole that, I needed to see kind of a big splash, on the team. And he just wanted to see what the future was for that team. He kind of felt like they kept falling short in the playoffs, and he wanted to see that they were making a step forward. And so I kind of said to him, well, dude, I would love to have you. I don't know what capacity you're going to be able to play this year, but any role, like, we'd love to have you. I said, I feel good that Jordan's going to sign with us, and Jordan wants to play with you. And I said, if that's something you want to do. And so I know that Doug gave me a little bit of trouble because I actually went to Branson like the next day. And so I'm actually driving down to Branson, which is 4 hours from us. And Jordan's like periodically texting me. I would say by Saturday morning, I was no longer the one selling Ryan O'Rear. It was actually Jordan. So it was pretty much like Saturday. I think it was Saturday morning. I could be getting my dates that I was even there. No, it was the next day. So it wasn't like the day I was driving, but like Jordan and I had text on my way down. Gotcha. But then like the next morning we were at, I don't know, someplace in Branson, and I'm like with my kids, and Jordan's like texting me, and he's like, first thing in the morning, he's like, hey, I think I'm going to sign with you. I still need to talk to a couple more coaches. He's like, but he's like, I don't know. Every time I talk to somebody, I just feel like this is what I want to do. I said, great. Sounds good. Just let me know if you want me to officially sign you now or if you want to wait. And so I kind of was just doing my thing with my kids. And he starts texting me saying he's talking to a rear. So at this point, he's now the one recruiting. He's recruiting a rear. I hadn't even really talked to a rear much out of my initial, hey, I'm interested, whatever. And then it kind of became simple of, hey, I hear you and Jordan are talking and you both want to come. Jordan said he's down this morning. Are you down? And then it just kind of rolled from there and sent over paperwork and deal was done.
I like it.
Well, I mean, we do have an official letterhead, and so much that the Purge stole it, so they liked it so much.
Thunderbirds stole it too.
Oh, look at that. Copycat League. How about that?
Actually, I think you sent it to me too.
Probably.
And I sit there and I go, I actually really, really like this. And I go, can I? I even think I got proof I have permission.
I don't know. I don't care. It's funny. I think all that extra stuff's fun, though. It's, it's kind of like, this whole league to me is kind of like what you always like grew up with your friends wishing you could do. Yep. Like you played wiffle ball with your friends, you'd keep a whole season of stats or whatever, Yep. You got your friend that, Sam Eichenlob, I've known him since I was 5. Like he was my guy that we that's what we did. So, that was always the worst, was getting grounded, because then you knew Sam was outside in the court hitting home runs, racking up stacks for the year, stats for the year, and I'm sitting on the couch grounded like, damn it.
Just looking out the window watching it.
Dude, so we had like a recliner right next to our front window. And so when I would get grounded, my mom and dad would make me sit in that chair because my friends would be playing like either court baseball with a tennis ball or wiffle ball, like right out in our court. And they would make me sit there while I was grounded so I could see everybody playing. And like you'd hear we'd use metal bats in the tennis ball, so you could hear the clang on the ground. You're just like, and you're getting so mad, and you have your friends come to the door and they're trying to, can he please come on play? He's so sorry. Like, they're trying to get you to come back out. But yeah, that honestly though, that worked. That worked. It was, I stopped getting grounded real quick because I was like, dude, this sucks. I was like, this sucks, So, no, I mean, it's kind of the same thing though. This is that next level. It's what you wanted growing up, and now we're a bunch of adults doing it. So it's a good time. It's a good time.
So, you draft Bryson.
I did.
Brody's little brother.
I did.
First quote that we have of Bryson at all on anything is literally saying that he hits his brother better than anybody in the country. That kind of mentality that you guys, they're that swagger, whatever the hell you want to call it, that jiffiness.
Jiffiness. I love it. I love the jiffiness.
That Bryson brings. I mean, is that, walk us through. I know you said you played with him. What made you want to draft him to play with him and continue to play with him?
Yeah. So I mean, I think I even said to people at the tournament, I was like, dude, this kid. He's a melonhead, dude. He's a melonhead. He's got that little bit of cockiness, that little bit of trash talk, that little bit of swag, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he carries himself like he can beat anybody, and I love that. It must run in the family though, because Brody said in his interview something to the extent of like, I'm not afraid to face anybody, and that was me year one. I would purposely pitch myself against Cam because year one, Cam was the guy. And so I would be like, look, you're not going to get better pitching against pitcher 2. I was like, I want Cam. And that was, I think that's the mentality that if you want to be really good, you want to take on the best. You want to be as good as anyone else. You want to play the best. So, no, I love that. I absolutely love that. And I felt like, I was obviously my situation in the draft. I wasn't 100% sure I would be able to get him because I was always pretty high on him. But I was always honest with people about my opinion of him after playing with him. I was always very honest about it. But then it kind of got closer to draft day and I saw how deep the draft was. And I felt like a lot of people just weren't talking about it. I was like, dude, this is a real possibility. So when we got the opportunity to move up and get him, I was ecstatic. I didn't care what it was going to take. So no, he's the exact kind of player that I want. I'm excited to get him in this league and see what he can do.
Yeah, when I met him at the MO WIFF Classic, you were talking with him, and you could tell you were not buttering him up, but you could tell there was some type there was some type of infatuation with him. And I'm sitting there next to Tom, and I go,
sounds a little sus when you say that.
I sit there, I go to Tom, and I go, watch this, because you had gone up to bat, or you were in the field. I walked up, and I just was introducing myself to him. That's it. And then all of a sudden, within 30 seconds, it was like a fly to a pile of horse shit. Just What are we doing here? What we got going on here?
Sorry, he's already a Melonhead. Get walking.
No, I'm just saying hi to the kid, you know. I wanted to look at the jersey that he was wearing, you know, because it was got that San Diego, you know, City Connect flair that he was wearing. But it literally, that was a lot of fun. But no, I 1,000% agree. There are about 5 draft picks I can put a hand that are like perfect culture fits day one, and Bryson is definitely one of them with you guys.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
So, you just named off pretty much your whole roster.
At some point, yeah.
I mean,
well,
yeah.
There's a few missing. I can name them too.
there's Bogat, Eichenlob, obviously Jordan, Ryan, Bryson, yourself, and then Saggio.
He forgot Jimmy.
He forgot Jimmy,
no,
dude.
He doesn't forget Jimmy. He says it on purpose. He does not say Jimmy's name because of Sam's pitchers rankings.
Okay.
So, what's going to be the most challenging part of having all these all-star caliber players on the same team?
And Saggio.
All right. No, honestly, it's gonna be difficult. I am kind of hoping that the world just works itself out sometimes.
Yeah.
Because some of these guys are part-time. You know, we're all adults, and everybody has already it's already been talked about that, like, if you need to miss, you need to miss. You know, but obviously I am deathly afraid of what happened last year. You know, I really am. Like, I don't want another situation where people don't show up at all. But then, like, week 1, I'm already really tossing and turning because I have 7 out of 8 that are saying they're coming week 1, which is one game. You know, what do you do with 7 guys in one game? And then if Bogat also can show up, that could be 8, you know. So I'm going to have to figure out exactly how I want to work that. I think the one-game scenario, especially week 1, is the toughest. You know, you can find ways to work it out, but I think Ryan and Jordan said it best in their podcast. I think we have a team full of guys that are going to do whatever it takes to win. And so I think, you know, we'll have our team conversation about what we think we want to do, and we'll move from there. I think we'll put our best team forward every week, and I think guys will be okay with that.
Gotcha.
So, what role are you looking to take on your team this year?
Well, I mean, I guess what I would like to say is that I'm just not going to put pressure on myself. You know, I feel like this league has really forced upon itself this idea that you can just say the word culture and, you know, you can act like your team is going to be this or that, but it's like, I think everybody's trying to replicate what the Melonheads had before. Everyone wants to say that, you know, they've got a great clubhouse and everybody's, you know, they've got a good fit of guys and this and that. But I think that there's a different level between saying it and what you actually saw. And I think it was very clear that when the Melonheads were good, there was something more than just, you know, hey, these guys like to play together. You know, we were tight, and we're trying to get back to that point. And I think that the best way to really describe it is trust. You know, because it's a lot easier to take a good at bat when you trust the guy behind you can do as much damage as you do. You know, I don't need to go out there and chase the ball out of the zone if I know the guy behind me can hit. You know, if Sam Eichenlob's behind me, I'll take my walk all day. You know, I mean, Jordan could have Ryan O'Rear behind him. I mean, you're talking about some of the best hitters in the league in our lineup. So it's kind of like one of those things. It's, you know, as long as every guy just trusts the next guy. And I think that that's what we did well down the stretch, both year 2 and year 3. If you watch those games back, you know, our team became very patient and we just allowed the next guy to win the game for us, you know, and you just took what was given to you. And I think that is the true definition of what it means to have the good culture, is that you trust that every player on your team can get it done and nobody's out there pressing, and it just makes the whole game easier, you know, and that's where the fun comes in too, because it's fun to win, right, but like it's more fun to play if you're not pressing. You know, you're going to have fun, you're going to be more laid back. You could walk 4 times in a day and have a good time if you know the guys behind you are going to drive you in, take the lead. You know, and I think that that's where you've seen when the Melonheads are good, the players on our team elevate to that next level, no matter if it's the first hitter or the 5th hitter. You know, you've seen almost every player on our team, whether they've been with us their whole career or not, their best run was a Melonhead. Pretty much everyone that's touched our roster. So I like hitting against the Melonheads. I'm sure you do.
I mean, I just do, and I'm glad to see Sam's back. I love Sam. You know, I've been playing against you and Sam for the better part of the last decade.
It's been a while.
And I mean, it's just a lot of fun just kind of talking that smack. I mean, you got me into MO WIFF and everything. You know, me and Will and Brink, we came from our previous league.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just a good group. And I will say from top to bottom, when we talk about the culture, the family, you know, as the Mojo call it, I mean, there's, you know, and hell, I'll even say the Thunderbirds, even though, you know, I haven't really got to be a part of it yet, you know, but I mean, you know, everybody speaks highly of each other, you know, through us. And I mean, you know, I'm just, the day one, I got asked, what's your plan? Stick with what Andrew had going, because it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, plain and simple. So, I mean, that's just kind of that focus. But, I mean, it's truly evident. And not saying that it's not there for any of the other teams, right?
It's just not.
I mean,
it's not, though. I mean, that's the thing is everybody wants to keep saying it, but it's not what you say on the podcast. It's not what you say to whoever you're talking to. Watch the teams on the field.
Right. Yep.
Watch the body language on the field.
Oh, 100%.
There's tons
100%.
of teams out there that all you got to do is watch them play. And you know that is not as tight as everyone wants to say. That group is not as close as they want to say, you know. And so and I think that's where teams take that next level is that because when you get to the postseason, every at bat is so important, and that's when, you know, talent is always great, but everyone's talented there. Yeah. So then, what is it that is the difference maker? And a lot of times,
there's one wild card in the playoffs. You know, one night it could be James Chaney, next night it could be me.
Well, and that's the thing, though, is a lot of that can come down to, you know, how comfortable do they feel in the situation, you know, and and that's where that culture comes into play. And I mean, even the Purge, you know, declaring Caleb their ace on the podcast. I mean, Caleb's best run in MO WIFF when he was the best pitcher in MO WIFF. Per Tom on the last podcast, I agree with you. But he was the best pitcher when he was with the Melonheads. That's when he really locked in, was when he was with the Melonheads. Once he came over to us, he locked in. And I think, if I remember right, his first night with the Melonheads, it was late into the season. Mm-hmm. And he walked like 6 guys or something like that against the Mambas. And he had given up 1 or 2 runs, something like that. We won 3-2. He came off a team that wasn't ever happening. And I feel like even this past season, you guys have openly said that's not what happened. And Caleb, after that game, was lights out. He was lights out in the final start of the year. He was lights out all through the playoffs because I think there's a comfort level to trusting the rest of your team to get the job done. And I know, and I've told many people this story before, but for people watching the podcast that maybe don't know the conversation at the park, before our championship against the Archers, I told Caleb, you go out there and pitch, I'll hit Jordan. First inning, I hit the double off Jordan. Second inning, I hit a home run off Jordan. What's going to lock you in more than that when I tell you, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and I went out there and did it. Yep. Now you do what you do. And I mean, it's that next level of, you know, you just trust the rest of your team. You know, you don't preach family or whatever. You live it. And don't get me wrong, that's the family thing is not a dig on you. You guys obviously have a lifetime family of.
I'm not taking anything.
No, I'm just saying. When I use the word family, I'm not. That is not a shot at the Mojo. The Mojo are as close as any team can be because that. Yep. I mean, what 3/4 of your team has grown up together. Yeah. You know, so you can't be any closer than that. But a lot of teams in this league want to talk about, oh, we want to find the right guy for, you know, culture fit. Our clubhouse is tight, this and that. Well, there's a difference between saying it and actually playing like that.
God, I love the way you just broke that down.
You like that?
Beautiful. I did. I'm
yeah, you know, I'm not all jokes.
Not all jokes. Not all jokes.
Not all jokes.
I think Q's got one last question for you.
Yeah.
So, is this the year that the Melonheads win it all once again, and why?
Well, I think Cole said it best. If you're sitting on this couch not saying you're going to win the championship, you shouldn't be in the league.
Absolutely.
But I think that this is... like I said, I think that we've got a group of guys that trust each other, and it's hard to look at our team and say, playoffs roll around and you're batting Jordan, O'Rear, me, Eichenlaub, Bogad, and then any of the other guys too. I mean, honestly,
when playoff Jimmy is your 6th.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, when I have to decide who else is in the lineup or, you know, anything like that. I mean, that's the thing is we have so many guys. I hope that playoff time comes and it's a hard choice. I hope that everybody has played so well that I have a terrible time picking a lineup. But I mean, that's the thing is when you name off our roster, I have 2 good lineups.
Yeah.
I could play 4v4 against my team and have 2 stacked lineups. So it's like, it's going to be a tough season, but I mean, I think that's great, and I think that we have every single player on our roster, health willing, is able to pitch. I mean, even Jimmy got a win on the Thunderbirds last year. So, Thunderbirds, whatever. But Andrew's the culprit there, so I pointed to him. But no, I mean, Jimmy even got a win against the Thunderbirds. So, I mean, and that's in a season that we only won, what, 2 games, 3 games? I mean, so we steal one.
I didn't look up the record, all right?
I don't either.
I didn't want to say it out loud.
It's fine. It's fine. But one of those games is Jimmy beating the Thunderbirds, who was arguably what? Now one of the best teams in the league? So, I mean, it's like... it's
preseason power ranker number 2.
So you're saying if he is the lowest man on the totem pole but can still steal a game off the Thunderbirds, and that's your pitching staff? I mean, you can save a lot of arms for playoffs. You can save a lot of arms for playoffs.
I'm thinking a bet might need to be made. Maybe we might have to at the end of this. Maybe on our predictions pod, we have a little fun with it since we're both in division.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fair. I think when you look at it, though, I mean,
tattoos on the butthole.
I think that there's certain teams in this league that have the luxury of being able to look at their roster, look at the league, and say, we're gonna make playoffs.
Right.
So it's all about making sure we're good when we get there.
And healthy.
You know, I mean, I think that I personally feel like I know who the bottom 2 teams are. I'd love to be shocked, but I think I know who they are. And
I would love a good run out of, the power rankings that they come out. Last year's Cinderella out of those power rankings, was the Purge, right? Coming from 7 up. This year?
I think the Purge were 5, because I looked it up on the...
I was going to say, I think the Thunderbirds were last year.
Thunderbirds were like 7.
They were 7th or 8th, something like that.
I think the Purge were like 5 or 6.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, I think, you know what?
The Thunderbirds were 7. I do remember Thunderbirds.
Did people not rank us last?
No,
because you were coming off a championship series. And
yeah.
Still had you, Boga, Jimmy.
No, that's fair. I mean, honestly,
the only departure you had was Sam
and Caleb. Yeah, I mean, those are pretty big departures. But
yeah,
no, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I'm just like thinking back. I guess last year was just so miserable. I can't imagine how anybody didn't see that coming. But
every year, Boston's known for having a great year, and then they drop.
No, so, it's all right.
It can happen.
I'm excited to be competing again. I'm excited for that.
So one thing I forgot to kind of ask a little bit earlier when we were talking about it, and it's kind of come to my mind. Even though you've had all these All-Stars, you're ranked in the top 5 in a lot of the hitting statistics, top 10 in lifetime average. I mean, granted, that's skewed because we got people that have only played 2 or 3 games, got a couple hits that are in there. But when you look at everything, the home runs, the RBI, so on and so forth. This year, because of last year, not part of the top 15. I know based off conversations that, it motivated you. And I mean, I've kind of alluded to it a little bit, saying that, energized or re-energized Jason is one of the scariest people that we can potentially have. Because there's just, you got that left-handed swingers, home run trot. That makes sense, that swing, that bat flip, that bat drop, and it's just the kind of the standing, walking away kind of thing that I hate to see because I've seen it too many times. But I mean, how does that resonate with you? Does that fuel you? What does it do?
Yeah, so I mean, with the top 15 list, man, I could go on about a lot of stuff with that. But I tried to take it pretty straightforward. I think that you said that you had a formula in the Excel sheet.
Yep.
And you even made one with an emphasis on hitting.
Right.
Personally, my own Excel sheet had an emphasis on pitching because I feel pitching is the most important thing in our league. Which is because of the fact that I was hurt a lot last year, almost all those stats hurt me. And so my offensive stats were okay. So I actually didn't have myself in my own top 15.
Right.
And I know that was mentioned on the top 15 podcast. So I guess I appreciate, that being recognized that I was honest. I think that top 15 list can be tough because people just aren't always honest. There's a lot of bias in it. And people are just ranking themselves or other people on their team, too high when they don't deserve it. You can't rank yourself the best player in the league if you've never been the best player in the league. It's kind of that simple, and to say, I think, if you think you're the best player in the league, then you need to play like it, And so for me, I look at that and say, I wasn't a top 15 player.
Excuse me.
I look at that and I say, I wasn't a top 15 player. And that's what motivates me. If I put myself in as good as I think I'm going to play, then where's the motivation there? I want it to hurt. I want to put myself on that ranking and be hurt by it and say, you know what? If I don't want to be off this list, I need to bust my butt and get back on this list instead of kind of being delusional and saying, oh, I'm a top 5 player. Because I think, truthfully, I'm a top 5 bat in this league. But at the same time...
That's why I draft you on my fantasy team, bro.
But at the same time, I didn't play like it, so I'm not going to act like right now I was a top 5 bat. You know, so that's how I look at it. I look at it as you can either live in a fake world of what could have been, or you look at it at face value and try and get better.
I like it. A lot of things gives a different thought process, you know, and you know, there's not one, to be fair, across the board, right? And you know,
no, yeah, I think
maybe playing the political card on my part, being the host, I'm not gonna lie there, but I mean, everybody's got their own thought process around it. You know, me, I would love to put myself in top 15. Closest I probably got was going into last year, maybe, you know, for season 4.
Yeah.
You know, when the rankings came out, I think I had a vote or two. But, I mean, it was one of those things where I would love to be up there, obviously. You know, nobody likes being on the outside looking in. But at the same time, I love how you articulately put it to where you use that as fire and kind of that, you know, building your dream board, you know, putting up there on there.
Well, and I think it's all about consistency, too. It's, you know, when you do a top 15, you can't put a guy at 13 because of his talent, but then a guy at 2 because of his numbers. You know, it's you gotta pick something, you know, because I mean I think Jaso's a perfect example of that, falling near the bottom of the list. In my eyes, I did not rank Jaso because we made a list of MO WIFF players, right, and I felt like he didn't play enough to be a MO WIFF player. But if you were to tell me to rank talent, he's number 1. Yeah. So I mean, in my eyes, that's the only places he belongs. If you are making a top 15, he is either number 1 or not on your list. Because he only played 3 games. So it's he's either the best player on your list or he shouldn't be there at all, because you have to have consistency at every single number. Yep. Otherwise it's just a dream board of whatever, you know, fits whatever narrative you're trying to feed yourself or other people. Right. And a lot of times, unfortunately, there's a lot of bias in it, and I would love to see everyone come up with an honest way to evaluate every single thing that we vote on. Because I think that happens across the board, whether that be awards, whether that be top 15, whether that be power rankings. I would love to see a world where the front office says, I have a captain hat and I have a front office hat, and we vote on front office things for what's good for the league and what is true, not just this is what I believe or this is what I think or this is what I want. You know, I want to see more accountability on being honest with how we rank stuff. That's what I'd like to see.
I love it.
So I do have a question for you with the top 15. How would you rank the top 15? How would you grade it? Is my question.
Are we talking accuracy or like
straight up? How would you see the top 15?
Oh, what is my top 15?
No,
I was gonna say I don't have that in front of me, so I don't remember anymore.
Like, how would you scale it? Like, what would you base it on?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I actually did do this because I made an Excel sheet with a scale. I think it could use some tweaking because I found some numbers that, you know, I kind of looked at and I go, that's probably not true, but I'll keep it consistent, so I stayed with it. But no, I think you come up with some kind of scale that you think reflects what makes a player important, and then you truthfully evaluate that. So what I did was I provided points based on what ranking you were. So if you were top 10 in batting average, you got a point. You know, if you were 1,
so
you got 10 points. So you made your own
stack ranker and adjusted it out.
And so
did you just create the war stat of our league?
Not exactly. No,
there's more to it than
that. That stuff's way more complicated. But
the shredder that we did is created more of a war.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like I took what I felt like were key stats that reflected how well somebody played, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but let's say I took the top 10 in batting and I went, 10 points is the highest, 1 is the lowest, and if you weren't top 10, you didn't get a point.
Right.
And then in pitching, I think I went to 15, so 1 was 15 and went down that way. And then basically with the idea that, pitching is key in this league, so I felt like that's the direction I went. And honestly, there was lots of things that surprised me when I did it, and that's what I loved about it, was because it wasn't how I felt personally. It was a true, this is what the numbers said. And I think that, honestly, the person you have on after me is one of the biggest scammed players in the league last year, based on bias, whatever. If you look at Andrew Nichols' stats last year, both pitching and hitting, he was top 3 in the league as best players, and I don't think he got recognized anywhere for it. And so that's where
I think the only kind of record I know.
I think he ended up number 2 in the points thing I made. He was like the second best player in the league, and he wasn't voted for stuff. And that's where I was just kind of like, dang. Now don't get me wrong, I was disconnected a lot last year, but I was like, dang, Andrew had a great season. But also, why is this the first time I know Andrew had a great season?
Right.
Why is it October and I'm just now learning he had a great season? So, I think that there was a lot of players, and I mean, like J Rich, shout out J Rich, he had a great year, and he didn't pitch at all.
So that was the big.
So I mean, yeah,
he actually pitched more than you think he did.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, because whenever I did everything and put it together, I was looking at it, and when it populated, J Rich was in the top 10, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, for mine, J Rich, because I weighted pitching more, he was near. I think he was 15 and I was 16. I think that's exactly what Cam said for the voting was J Rich was 15, I was 16. And that's exactly how it populated with mine too, was that J Rich had the points to be 15. And shout out him, because he was an arm, not a hitter, and then all of a sudden he was a hitter last year.
I think between you...
No, I think it was cool to remove what you believe and just let the numbers people produced on the field say, this is how good I was. Not how good I want to be, how good I think I am.
Yeah.
Straight up, this is what the numbers said. And so I think that's the fairest way to look at it. I mean, I think the fun thing we always have is, this team has bloated stats because of strength of schedule, blah, 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 whatever. So to some extent you show up and play your games. Everyone's had both sides of it. I mean, we had a year where we played, I think it was mentioned on the podcast,
yeah.
Doug pitched against us, Greg's pitched against us that one year, and so, yeah, our stats got a little bit bloated, but then I think our championship year, we faced every Cy Wiffle candidate the first, 6 weeks of the season. Right. So, I mean, it all works out, but it's like, it's just one of those things. What are you going to do? I mean, you just show up on Thursday and play your games. You can't control what you're facing, so you got to play. And the thing is how many people strike out on 55 and under? 56 and under. It happens all the time. So you're telling me just because somebody's only throwing...
How many people whiff on a 55?
That's what I'm saying. So you're telling me just because the guy pitching against them throws 70, now it's a joke that they hit him? Right. I mean, you still had to do it. So, I mean, you showed up, you played your game. It's kind of like when the MLB got mad at the guys for taking the position players deep. Well, he gets paid to hit home runs. It's not his fault the other team put in their catcher to pitch the ball.
Yeah, right.
How is that his fault? Absolutely. He should just strike out now? Well, what if that team comes back and wins now and he didn't take him? It's just, you play the game that's in front of you. And so that's why I think the fairest way to assess our league is the stats that our league provides. And so I chose to go a very unbiased, and it was fun. I thought it was fun to see what that resulted in, because I remember Cam even texted me, hey, I still haven't got your top 15 yet. And I'm like, shit, I got to get this together. But I genuinely told him, I said, I could send you a list right now. I said, but I really do want to see what happens if I produce something like this. And it was cool. It was cool to see some names higher or lower or not on the list at all and be like, huh, that's pretty cool, instead of just, I think this guy's better than this guy.
All right, so, I mean, you've seen episodes, obviously.
I've seen all of them.
You know what's coming next.
I watch them
We've asked our questions. Now it's time for you to ask us one.
Yeah.
What questions you got for me and Q?
I'm going to start with Brian.
Okay.
Brian, hey, I said I'll be respectful to Brian in his own home.
Oh, it's fine. No.
It's a legit question. No, I'm saying you're rolling your eyes. It is a legit question. This is probably a, I don't know, it's kind of rhetorical because I probably already know because we've talked a lot, but other people don't know. As somebody that makes a lot of content for this league, I can understand where you're coming from. What is the most difficult thing about this podcast for you that people probably don't know? Because I think as someone who does understand what you're doing, I think a lot of people maybe take for granted what is given up to do it.
I'm going to answer with a confession. All right. So I used to be one of the ones like, why the hell can't we, like whenever you do the video replays and everything, I used to always sit there and try and figure out how the hell can we not get these games up? Mm-hmm. And why can't we be able to see them? Why can't we see the recap videos? Blah, 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 blah. It wasn't truly until that first podcast that I had to fully edit. All right. That where I had spent almost 20 hours combined getting it out. Because I was so trying to be a perfectionist with it. Mm-hmm. And I would always rewatch it, then watch it again, then watch it again. Find something new to change every time. To the point now where doesn't matter. I guess for me, where it's kind of the part of it, average time it takes me to do each video, about 6 hours. All right, and that's if no cuts, no editing, all the way through. If I got to build a graphic all the way through and stuff.
This one's gonna take you 5 days.
But we'll figure out how that all goes. But at the same time, it's like there's things where I've just said screw it. Like Q's job, is if I need a clip, Q goes and finds me the beautiful clips and sends to me. So any of kind of the cut video that we have in there, that always come from Q. Put it all together nice and easy for me. And then any of the statistical stuff that needs to be looked up, he's the one that kind of looks into it. But I mean, I started this not knowing what the hell I was doing at all. I mean, we're talking all the way from the audio, all the way up from the video, all the way up to the background. How should we have it set? And I mean, and I watch, and I'll say it, I watch other leagues' podcasts, and I don't necessarily steal ideas, but I think it's like, ooh, I like that. How can I make that better? Yeah. How can I make that better to work for me in here, right? But I mean, just kind of learning, and now, I've learned a lot in the last 3 months. We'll put it that way, to where I dread it now. It's like, okay, I need to, when it was so excited, now it's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore, because it does take time away from the family. It does take, dedication to it. But at the same day, and I'm not going to name any names here, all right? I had somebody reach out about a month and a half ago that literally sent me a text message that said, they're unfortunately having a rough time during December and into the new year. That just the videos coming out just kind of pumped them up and got the season going. And I mean, they were dedicated to it through and through, and they loved the stuff that was out there, and it kind of helped them through some difficult times. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I saying the hour and a half that this comes out during the week is Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I am not saying that at all.
Okay, I'll say it. The hour and a half.
No, but just that sentiment that got said to me that day, it was the highest of highest compliments. And I mean, it was one of those things where, who I'm talking about because I screenshot it and sent it to you. And I sat there and I even said, a holy F.
Yeah,
I was like, biggest compliment. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it was just one of those things like, just that alone. Yeah. That alone. Mm-hmm. And then, talking about you getting rejuvenized. F&A, Cotton, let's go.
Yeah, I think you and I have talked more in the last 4 months than we've probably ever
in the last 10 years
of real conversation, at least.
Yes, of real conversation. But I mean, it's one of those things to where, it's just an education, and I've developed this passion for it, and now I'm starting to look at avenues, for a career that may take me down. We got some things coming up, very in the near future, that I'm going to be heavily involved with, or I'm going to try to put myself heavily involved to learn more, and never know what comes out of it. But I mean, sorry to be long-winded, but I mean that's how I kind of feel about it. But I've got that passion with it now to the point to where it's even I've got Colby coming home. He started taking these Photoshop classes at school, which I don't know anything about Photoshop. Right. He's showing me little things in these little pictures he's making, and it's like, so how would you do that here? And we kind of bounce ideas off each other, and it's just one of those things where it might take me time away, but now I'm bonding with my kids on, a different level because of different things. My daughter knows I can make the little graphic. Oh, can you make me one? Can you make me one? Me in a picture of this? Me in a picture of that? I do. It takes me 10 seconds. She loves it. She's all happy. And it's great.
No, yeah, like I said, I mean, I can obviously relate to this as doing a lot of it, but I think that it is it's appreciated, but no one really understands it unless you've done it. You don't really understand how long this stuff takes. It seems so easy. Just go pull that home run. Oh yeah, it's that easy. Let me just go do that real quick.
It's like when I sit there and when we started talking about how you wanted to do like the recap videos this year, I literally was like, all right, we need to whenever we make a note, all right, I can lob home run, bottom of the third. We need to know the count. We need to know everything. Off of who and, about what time it is. Because when we're looking at timestamps, it's to make it so much easier now. Like, oh, yeah, Sam hit a home run this game. Cool. Win. So I don't have to sit here for an hour and look.
Yeah, so for a while, Cam was sending me the, basically like the scorecard from the app. So and that was so I could go through it. But honestly, what when we integrated the scoreboard, that actually started helping me a lot because then I could just zoom through the video and find opportunities that things were happening. And when I say zoom, it's not that quick, but like it feels.
1.5.
But from my perspective, it
1.25.
feels a lot quicker. But no, I mean I think you answered that very well. I think that it is. It's a grind, but. When you hear things like that from the league, it really does.
Oh, yeah.
It really does help, which is why right away I said to you, like, dude, I'm telling you, what you're doing is good. And you've learned the most valuable lesson you can learn is that you're the only one noticing your mistakes. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like you as the editor will sit there and mess with stuff over and over and over again, and no one will ever notice that you messed something up.
Like, I have vowed to never have a 4 a.m. night anymore. Like, where I was up till 4 a.m. and then sent it to you where you were waking up at 6 or 7 with your kids. It's like, hey, can we have this out by 8? Never again. And, I mean, that's why some of the podcasts have been pushed back to Wednesday or some have been later in the day because, in all reality, I need to sleep, too. All right? I'm not going to grow any taller if I don't get my sleep. So, I'm trying.
You said
I'm
it,
trying.
not me.
But, no, man, I appreciate that question.
Yeah.
I actually really did.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Q. Time for your question. So, Q, how does it feel to know that I have had more hits in one season than you have your whole career? No. How does it feel to know that I have more playoff home runs than you do in your career? Never mind. No. Seriously, though, Q. My question for the Mojo and yourself. So you guys won your championship.
Yeah,
You've got the rumor is JSO's going to be here a lot more.
Yep.
How is this team going to come back and what is it like in that group chat? What does that community look like from that outside perspective? What do you guys how are you guys
This is gonna be a good answer.
how are you guys gelling for this upcoming season? What's that look like?
Well, it's kind of basically, I'd say it's kind of the same. Integrating Ray has honestly been a lot better than you'd expect, just because it's Connor's nephew, or sorry, uncle.
Something.
Yeah, it's Connor's uncle, and I mean he fits right in. Obviously, I don't think there's a person on this planet that doesn't get along with Sam Skibby and Gus. It's kind of all the same. Mostly it's just my dad saying something. And then, or Sam saying something like we're all gonna hang out tomorrow, so that's gonna help a lot. And then, it gets really serious when you hear from Jackson Crosley.
Oh boy!
Oh wow!
So
what does Jackson say when he pitches in? Like when he's got something to say, what is that like? Like twice a season that he decides to say.
I know
something.
that's what I was gonna say. Whenever he texts, most of the time it's like my dad on a game day, like, hey, we play this team this time. Who's in, who's out, and if Jackson Crosley says, I'm in, it's like, oh, okay, well, hey, you texted? You picked up your phone for the first time in a year. So, I think I said it in the last podcast, or one of them, the last time he texted the group chat was, I think, after the championship. That's the last time I've heard from Jackson. And Brian called me a bad friend. So it's like,
Yeah, I did. All right, I did.
So, it's to kind of get back, it's more of just kind of all the same, but just obviously with Ray. But it's more of that, tomorrow we're gonna kind of do our celebration of this past season.
Does that mean something showed up? You guys got them yet?
Dude, I have no idea. I just know we're all going over to Sam's house. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I
Continue
know.
as you were.
But we're just gonna kind of put 2024 behind us, and we're gonna move on to 2025. If you dwell in 2024 forever,
for like a whole other podcast.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
I think I know.
All right.
Next podcast, then I'm done. But
the one about the 2024 championship.
right? It's just me sitting there. It's just me.
It's just clips of all the other podcasts.
Oh shit.
No. We're just kind of trying to put this last season behind us and get ready for this one, just so we don't, trip and fall in our first couple weeks and then find ourselves behind the eight.
But no, Jason, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
Had a lot of fun.
to
Give
this.
a little hot takes and everything that way.
Oh, I do have one more thing because
Okay.
it made me laugh. This is not a hot
No,
take.
no.
This is an appreciation. I can appreciate that Rory straight up said, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said something about, kind of a little diss at the Melonheads. But I can appreciate that because I can't stand when people wait until after the game to talk trash. Have confidence in your team to talk trash beforehand or don't talk at all. Because the Melonheads have talked shit and then talk shit on ourselves afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, we're more than willing to eat whatever we've created.
You've had to pro before, but at the same time.
But at the same time, I can't stand when certain people want to not say anything. You know, they won't reply at all. They tell their players, don't reply, don't reply. But then as soon as the game's over and maybe they won, now all of a sudden here they come. Have some confidence in your team if you're going to talk trash. Talk trash before the game and mean it, or don't talk it at all.
I feel like that's
cringe if you want to talk afterwards.
I feel like that's a little dig at me a little bit there. But then again,
I think you give it to me a little bit, but you're just easy to pick on.
I had tons of fun after the Purge beat them. What'd you
I
say?
said you're just easy to pick on.
Because I'm just at flicking height.
Yeah, you know.
But anyways, so that meme I put out there about after the Purge beat Melonheads opening day last year. That was probably the best one I've ever made. But
I still love the one of me reaching up high and and you're just a little kid. That's my favorite. I'll use that for anything. That's like a saved template in my phone.
God, my head had to be backwards.
No,
used for everything.
No, but no, I just that's the thing is I think the trash talk is fun, and I none of it is personal. It absolutely is never personal. No. It's always just honestly, it gets me fired up to play, and I know other people feel the same way. But like I said, I think it's a little cringe if you're telling your team don't say anything or you don't want to talk trash before the game, but then after the game you want to let us have it. That's cringe. Have confidence in your team. Talk beforehand, man. Talk the trash beforehand, and then you just we'll live with it. If we lose, we'll eat it. I think we made memes about ourselves at one point.
Yeah, that was.
It is what it is. That's just part of the game. It's fun, and it's more fun when we talk trash with each other. And I just don't like the afterward stuff. And if you're gonna talk trash, be ready to have trash talk back to you. Right. I don't like this. I'm gonna say something, and then when you say something to me, I'm gonna cry. I'm not into that either. But that's fine. But like I said, if you want to talk trash, we're all for it. But don't be cringe and do it after the game. Have the confidence. Have a little something.
He started. It's not a hot take. No, don't worry.
That's not a hot take. Just grow a pair.
Yeah.
God love it.
Well,
again,
somewhere in there's the opener to this podcast.
I think it is.
Something along this line here.
There's going to be something in there.
You'll find it.
I'm sure I will. But no, man, we appreciate you stopping by for the first segment, and you're going to stick around and be part of the rest of this episode. You get to take over. We're going to switch sides of the couch.
Ooh.
Right.
Oh, it's comfy over there.
It kind of is. But no, with that being said, we'll be right back with Andrew Nichols for the second segment of our 3 Up 3 Down podcast.
Call swings and misses. He strikes out.
That's all they get. And that ball is in with the cross.
But man, the 2 and 3 as he strikes out Sam Skibby to start the day.
Nichols looking to keep the game alive for himself.
There is a bit of a mistake. That's the mistake. I was literally getting to say the mistake on the field.
Welcome back to the second segment of the 3 Up 3 Down podcast. Joining us now is 2024 Manager of the Year, Mr. Andrew Nichols. Multiple-time All-Star, 2024 All-Star MVP, batted .286, slugged .667 with 5 homers and 10 RBIs last year for the Thunderbirds. How you been, man? How's your offseason been?
Good. How you doing? No, off-season's doing good. Done absolutely nothing with Wiffle Ball, so I'm ready for the season.
So you the type that's just going to be able to come in, grab a stick, swing, and park one 200 feet?
No, not at all, but we're going to give it a shot.
Oh, shit. As we've talked about on this podcast before, and it's been announced, obviously you're stepping down into a player's role this year. Even though you're still manager last year, and what you know about the offseason and how the team's constructed this year, what would you say the difference is, in your opinion, from a player perspective, between last year's team and this year's team?
We got a hell of a lot stronger. We upgraded our roster. We got Dom, and we got Foss back. I'm back. The whole team's back. So, basically championship or bust now.
There we go. I like that.
So, in 2024, you drafted 2 superstars that are now the future of this Thunderbirds team. Did you have any idea that drafting Dom and Spencer, they would both become top 15 players?
Funny story about that. Foss was one of 2 people that showed up for the tryout. So if I'm driving 45 minutes to go watch 2 people, I'm picking one of the guys that showed up. And Foss was one of those guys. And it turned out beautifully. With Dom, 2 of his buddies were at the draft. I just went right up to him like, hey, your buddy any good? They're just like, yeah, he's a good pitcher, good hitter. I'm like, cool. I literally went right up to the podium and I picked him.
Yeah, and then right after that, I think you left. I think you left and went back to work or something.
Uh,
Or maybe you were done for the day and you went home.
no, it was just, I think I was just like, I'm done. I'll see you later.
I just remember hearing that behind me, and I was like, well, that's one way to pick it. Hope it works out for you.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah, it did. Well, you had both them guys, finished top, 1 and 3 in Rookie of the Year voting?
I got an eye for skill. Don't worry, bud.
I like it. Oh, I take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Obviously now kind of being like we said, stepping down. What role are you looking to take with the team?
Maybe just like a mentor role. Let you run the ship. You need help, let me know. But I'm just here for a good time. No worries, no pressure on me. I can just show up and have fun.
Gotcha. I want to get a little serious real quick. All right. The one thing that you and me had a conversation about, and you specifically asked for me to bring this up on the podcast. I didn't want to bring it up just for respect for you, but you wanted to bring it up. You talk about going out. You wanted to go out as a champ, as a captain, right? Obviously. Division being picked, 7th in the rankings and everything, in the power rankings beginning last season. How do you feel like that season overall ended for you?
It obviously didn't end the way we wanted. We lost to a really good Archers team, but we were picked last in our division with the team we had. Nobody knew anything about us.
Right.
Then we came out. Foss turned into one of the best pitchers in the league. Then you had Dom, crazy clean ball. So it just, everything was clicking. We had great chemistry. Then just for it to be given to another team. And, not too happy how we lost the division and had to go up against a tough Archers team to first round, and another team got to pick and choose who they played.
Right.
Didn't really like it that much.
So is that half the fire? Like, it's not unheard of for the situation, right? And I mean, I'm. It's weird for me to ask this, but I'm asking it because I think it kind of goes good with the story. Is it part of the reason why you're wanting to come back and potentially run it back?
No.
Or taking a chance of winning a championship as a Thunderbird, I guess.
The main reason I came back, all the guys were coming back.
Yeah.
Like the team we had last year was great. We all got along. Just great group of guys. I wasn't leaving. I told you that right off the bat. I wasn't leaving. So does it give me a little more motivation? Yes. Yes. Gotcha. I'm ready to go. So excited for this year. It's going to be a fun year. Excited to see what these young kids can do for us, and I can just sit back. Me and you can sit back on the bench and just watch this happen.
Dude, I'm looking forward to kind of playing. Like I made that comment last week about being that hybrid role.
Dude, we can literally just sit on the bench and watch this happen.
Dude, it's going to be a lot of fun towards the end of the season when we're fully rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be there's going to be times where, you're going to swing more than me. Obviously, you got a better stick than I do. So the bigger bat always plays better in a group setting.
Yeah.
So that's how that can kind of work. But I'm so excited, and I know I've said it time and time again. I'm pumped for this season to get going, and I mean we're only we just rolled over 21 days left.
Yeah.
Today's 20 days.
Yep.
20 days from this recording. So God, I can't wait.
These young kids are making me feel excited to play. Like Foss, Dom, we're ready to go.
And you're not afraid of nobody. You're just like like you said earlier. What did Brody say that got you all pumped up?
What did he say?
Not being afraid of anybody.
That was me. I said that.
Oh, Jason said that too.
Yeah, Jason. But yeah, I think we can contend with anybody in this league. So top to bottom, I think there's a reason we're ranked second in the power rankings. So now we just gotta go out there and prove it to anybody.
Hell yeah, I'm all for it.
There we go.
Now I want to flip the table and let's go.
See, right?
Yeah, let's just move my work laptop up.
No, it's gonna be a
Aim
good
for
year.
Colby. He can defend himself.
Yeah.
Andrew, is this the year that the Thunderbirds win their first championship?
Feeling pretty confident about it with everybody coming back and the pitching, the hitting. I feel like all the pieces are there to make a deep run and championship.
Got you. What have you have you ever talked to any of your new teammates yet, or reached out to Brody? And obviously, you've talked to me, but
yeah,
have you reached out to Brody?
Brody, if you watch this, welcome to Thunderbirds, bud. Happy to have you. I'm really bad with group text. I'm sorry, buddy, but can't wait to meet you.
He's excited about getting up here.
Good.
So, giving up the reins as the captain of the Thunderbirds and now having this absolute squad of a pitching staff, will we see less of you this year?
I think that's a fair statement there. I mean, let the young kids have some fun. I can come in and close games if I want to, maybe pitch here and there, but it's all the kids' show now.
When you say less of you, are you talking like on the mound, or are you talking in general week to week?
No, I'll still be there, but
I say you almost broke my heart there.
no, I'm gonna be there. Hey, easy, buddy.
Dear.
Easy.
Dear.
But no, step back from pitching. I worked too hard. Like, I was the workhorse the last few years, and my arm got burnt out too early. So it's good to have multiple pitchers there and save some arms for playoffs.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I took over the team, when we talked about it, I asked you, I go, what do we need? What would you say we need?
Pitching.
And you said, and you literally go, we need a bat and another arm in case I go dead again. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
all right, bet. So we go out get Brody, okay. Oh, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be a good time.
With that being said, what's the future look like for you? Kind of finishing your years out, just being a player, or?
Yeah, I'm just gonna taking a step back. 3 kids, so I'm always running around. 2 of them are starting. Well, one's in sports, another one's starting. So I'm always running around, especially on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Austin has soccer, then I have to rush from soccer straight to Wiffle Ball.
Oh shit.
And I'm not a young person anymore, so I need time to warm up thoroughly. All right.
Well, at least you won't be pitching as much anymore, you know?
No, that's gonna be great.
You'll be sitting on the sideline of the soccer field getting stretched out.
Yeah, I need a good 20 minutes to warm up. Do you hear me pitch? I grunt, and it's 74 miles an hour.
But that's the fun of it, right?
Yeah, sure.
At least you get to be called a crafty lefty, right?
The next morning's not fun.
Well, yeah, I could totally see that. How I got out of bed this morning and stumbled. I was like, oh no.
I sleep on my back wrong, and I'm done for like 3 days.
My wife has all these squishmallows on our bed and stuff, and it's mostly for a wall to block us from hearing the other one snore.
Yeah.
And if one rolls off the hill and comes down, and I'm like in the middle of my back's screwed for the rest of the day. I have to like stretch it out. Like somehow I'm able to be flexible enough to bend down and touch my toes, so I gotta like stretch my back.
I mean,
out.
you don't even have to tie your shoes. You can just slip them on. So you don't even have to bend down for that.
Now that you're going to be a player and everything, and we know you like to talk a little smack with everybody, who are you most forward to talking
Paul
a little shit
Pugh.
with? Paul Pugh?
Paul Pugh, yeah.
Well, Paul's back in the league.
Exactly.
Joined with Melonheads, right? They're not Melonheads?
No.
No, sorry.
No, he's with
Kings.
Ken. Yeah.
Kings, my bad.
Last time we associated Paul with the Melonheads, me and Jason got in trouble. Remember that?
I do, yeah. So they were going to wear a tutu or something to the game.
Yeah, I remember how that all went. Yeah, that was a good conversation that we do not need to relive.
Yeah, we got in trouble.
So why Paul?
Why not Paul?
That's a great question. Why not, Paul?
Why not Paul? All
Yeah.
right, that's fair enough.
Jason's a good one to shit talk.
He should talk back.
I love playing the Melonheads. We just always go back and forth. Good banter.
That's gonna be a good series.
Oh yeah.
Right, so we're gonna get a little chance here in the next segment to, well, actually, me. I guess I'm gonna get interviewed by Jason. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be entertaining, to say the least. So normally we end these segments with asking our people, what, if they have any questions for us, right? We get to ask questions. They don't get to ask anybody. No, fuck. We're gonna sit there and we're gonna let you ask questions back to us.
All right. So, who are you most forward to shit talking, or playing?
Playing wise,
Yeah.
okay. Who am I looking forward to versing?
Because you can't shit talk Rogers. He's on our team.
I know, right? That's been a lot. That's normally a lot.
Love
of
you,
fun.
Rogers.
But it's gonna be you, me, and Rogers.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's gonna be that. I'm looking forward to the second week. The second week we play, week 4.
Okay,
right?
who do we
play?
play?
Doubleheader against the Purge. So our first 3 games are against the Purge.
Oh, nice.
Once everybody plays that night, okay, cool.
All right.
But week 4.
Shows you how much I know. I don't even look at the damn schedule.
I just text you that morning. Hey, we're playing.
Yep, just do that.
Right,
I'll show up.
Good to know. But no, I'm gonna have fun chirping at Caleb and Colin.
You really want to shit talk them when they throw 90 miles an hour?
Yeah.
It seems like Caleb every game hits me. Every god.
Well, I mean, you asked me.
Bastard.
That's just my thought.
That's fair.
At least they're not headhunters. I mean, at least
It still
on
hurts.
purpose. On purpose, right? Could be Jaso.
I took him deep. It's fine.
Any questions for Q?
You got a beautiful smile.
Stop making me blush.
What are your goals for this year? You trying to be an all-star?
Yeah.
MVP?
Talk shit, hit bombs.
Live small, bunt the ball.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay down a bunt this year.
Q with the swinging bunt every
Yeah.
time.
No, I'm gonna lay down a straight bunt, week 1.
Me and you had some good battles in the box. When I'm pitching, what's going through your head?
Talk shit, hit bombs.
Didn't go so well for you, did it?
No, I hit a foul ball.
Yeah.
It's
Struck
all right.
out quite a
Hey,
few
you know
times.
what? That's
yeah.
all right.
On the screwball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, it always gets me.
I think I got you on a couple 55 and under too. What happened
Dude,
there?
I always strike out on that.
Yeah, that's why I pitched to you.
Why do you think I take walks all the time?
There you go.
Oh, man. Well, we hope you were as entertained as we were during this segment
Keep
here.
your fucking...
I'm trying. But with that being said, we'll be right back with the third segment of
Everything was good.
podcast. We'll be back with the third segment. All right. Peace.
All right, here we are with the third segment of this podcast. We flipped it around a little bit. This time we are going to talk to a fourth-year player, former with the Archers, former with the Purge, now captaining his own team, the Thunderbirds' new manager, Brian Hunter.
Howdy, gentlemen.
Alrighty, so I'll get started with these questions. So you're going in your first season as captain, as Jason just alluded to. You know, what's been the difference so far between being a player and a captain?
Not necessarily the fact of not having to run thoughts and anything by anybody, because I playing with Tom last year, I took a little bit more of a leadership role because that's where I felt like the whole reason why I was signed, was a veteran presence as somebody, to at least help the Purge and help some of the young kids kind of that were already kind of up and coming, just kind of help keep the straight and narrow. Me and Tom had a lot of good conversations back and forth. Ultimately, his decision, his team, but he respected my 2 cents, and I respected him enough to give it. And right, wrong, indifferent. Whether it was, filled with something to where it wouldn't have been, if it wasn't an easy topic to talk about.
Right.
Like the hard conversations, me and him had them, but we had them from a respectable state. But this year, and it's not necessarily the fact that it's changing, but I've seen a couple of my guys kind of reach out and kind of do like the same thing that I did, and we've had conversations wrapped around it, where it is, to allude what you said earlier in the last segment, we can talk about culture, we can talk about fit, we can talk about family. I'm just trying to continue with what Andrew did, all right? Because obviously they won the division 2 years ago. Last year they're one shit night away from that change in course and change in action for them of winning back to back. So that core is there, and I mean, like Andrew spoke to, he threw darts at a dartboard and hit double bullseye both times with Spencer and with Dom. So it's like, all right, he's already built a team where they all play well together. Hardest part so far has been getting everybody to communicate. Now I'm learning I got a bunch of people that, don't like to chit chat as much as I do. We all know I can talk with the best of them. But it's just kind of the fact that now it's on me, kind of, it's, where it's been a tag team kind of thing. Now it's overall my decision. I've got Andrew, who I trust, and, Andrew came to me individually and asked me to run this team. So, there's a respect factor there. And I want to do right by him and right by the boys that we already got, and ask them straight up, what do we need to put this team over the hump? Go get a bat and go get another arm. That's when Brody fell to me. Shit, sign me up. I mean, you go back and watch the draft video. I just started laughing. Now, granted, it was because Spencer winked at me and smiled at me from the parking lot as he's into the building, but I kind of chuckled because I was still dealing with everybody, the gasp of Wheeler going number one. But it was just one of those things where I think the good things come to those who wait and those who do their due diligence. Mm-hmm. I was maybe pushed from some outside sources to kind of make the trade to move up. But it was definitely something to where I had a different plan of action, and it kind of fell in the same way because at the end of the day, as much as I, love Cole and Rory, I didn't want them picking ahead of me. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to move up. Now, when I started talking about that trade, Brody wasn't even on the board. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's just kind of where it is. But would it? Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit long on my own damn question, but that's just how it's going to be. What's going to be different is the fact that it's my decision, but the end all be all is going to be the fact that it's going to be definitely have at least the input or conversations going to be had with everybody that's going to impact.
Alrighty. So how have you just fit into the squad? Because pretty much everybody outside yourself and Brody played on this team last year, and then you kind of just insert yourself in as the captain, and then you draft Brody. How have you kind of like fit in so far with everybody else?
So me and Will and Brinken played together in a previous league, and we still continue to play in that league. Just get some extra swings in, just to have a good time, and maybe not have the pressure, not pressure, but just sit back and enjoy and just play ball, right? Mm-hmm. Where nobody's got to make a decision, nobody's there. Show up, have a good time, swing, hang out with people that you've hung out with, with your friends and everything for years playing with. Now playing together, and just kind of done that. So me and Will and Brink have that connection. Josh, came from that league to where I played against him and knew of him and everything. Cam as well. So that kind of communication, everything. I'm talking about my team here. All right, we're talking about Thunderbirds.
Cam.
We're getting there, but well,
I was in that league too.
I was gonna get there,
you
but
talked
you beat
about
me
it when
to
we talked earlier. It's good.
You beat me to it. But having Dom and having Spencer, right? Talking about being up there. I'm somebody who, Thursday nights. Somebody said it's their night, right? Their night. They're going out. Their guys' night, quote unquote. Same thing for me. So I've spent enough time up at the ballpark talking with Spence, talking with Dom, being teammates with Pat Ballman last year. Pat and Dom, grew up together. They're friends, NWA guys. Hanging out with them, just talking, shooting the shit. Being in the booth or just sitting on the sidelines, just having conversations. I built that relationship with Dom and Spencer already. MO WIFF Classic was when the rumbling started last year, and both of them were kind of excited about me coming on board. Just because, it's not my play. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I will be the first to admit that. And Jason has said it, and I made the joke last week about it, and I still, but there's truth behind it, to where it's going to get to a point with this league where if I'm not a captain, I might not be here. All right, and I am A-okay with that, understanding, because that's what it is. But with that, already having that, and then with Andrew giving the blessing, if you will, right. With Mark, Mark and him are boys. They all grew up together too. So it kind of just all molded together to where it kind of just slide in. And then talking about Brody, how Brody comes on, I voiced my opinion. I said, this is where we're sitting at. This is what I'm thinking. Here are the 3 people that are potentially going to be there. Here's where I rank them on our big board. 1, 2, 3. I posted the videos that Jason had made and said, this is the conversation I've had with all of them. I gave all the information. I go, where does everybody feel? I go, this is where I'm feeling. This is why. Thoughts and concerns. And people that wanted to respond or had a care in it responded. We had it. It happened. That's where we're at. So the fact, go get a bat, go get an arm. Check, done. One guy.
Gotcha. On what you just said there, I do want to give this shout out because this is my chance to publicly say it. BLW, you made making the Brody video as easy as possible with high quality footage. Bryson and Brody both had high quality footage for their videos, so I really do appreciate it. Shout out Big League Wiffle.
Dude, you want to see their setup? Go to their Instagram post from just a couple days ago. All pictures of from their clubhouse where they shoot everything up because they shoot from that up angle.
I think I follow them on the Melonheads page. I don't use Instagram a lot.
Gotcha.
So
I saw it on Instagram. It might be in some of the other socials. I'm new to Instagram, so I'm trying to use it a lot.
Yeah. I'll go check that out for sure.
Being 38, Instagram's not meant for me, so it's like trying to learn.
It could be. I've seen some creepy dudes out there.
I literally...
No, I did have a question, though, kind of went along with what you were saying. 'Cause I do have a little more insight than other people, probably. But I would say, give us a look. What is that culture? So I did let's say I informed people earlier, maybe what it takes to take that next step in culture. I know that personally, I do know that you have probably one of the tightest knit groups, hardest working groups. What does that look like on the inside, though? What's that culture look like?
So, I mean, when we're talking about the inside, I mean, we're one of the things and one of the questions is that's going to ask, you know, and we'll learn more about this from future segments of the pod is, you know, when we go through our power rankings or what ifs, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the big things, and I mean, when you look at a statistical standpoint, James Dutton did not have a down year. He had a linear year. Okay. The question is using that as, you know, as good of a rookie year as he had. You know, Rory took that step, was already climbing up. Granted, he was hurt that next year, but whatever. But Dutton had that, you know, Dutton's kind of that baseline that we can use, both hitting and pitching wise. Do Dom and Spencer, where do they go? Do they go above or below the Mendoza line? All right, or the Dutton line.
The
Dutton line.
The
Dutton line. Sorry, bro, but I mean,
I'll say the Mendoza line's not really one you want to have. So.
But there's no. That's why I call the Dutton line, not the Mendoza line.
Hey, you know what? That's fair. I bet he would tell you he wishes he was hitting better too, though.
But what I'm getting at is the fact of it's like, okay, do they have the sophomore slump, or do they continue to take that next step forward? So, one thing that I've been super impressed with is I've got to see it a couple times, and Colby can even attest to it. He went with me once. These boys, they're doing work. And we're not just talking, oh, let's go outside. It's a nice day. No. We're talking there was 3 inches of snow on the ground, plowed up that day. They were in the cages, I mean, doing work, having simulated games. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, Wheeler was involved in that. So the three of them, now they all play together in a different league.
I actually went to one at the start of the offseason. It was Spencer, Wheeler, and myself. And
I
think Dom was supposed to come, but something came up. But, yeah, I mean, no, they're pitching full out.
Yeah,
and they're really trying to get better.
I got the welts on my shoulder that I wore for a week from it. I mean, just the fact of getting it. But, I mean, we're talking putting in the work where, I mean, we're not talking, you know, okay, let's go 75%. We're talking, how do we get this to 90? How do we get this to 95? Mm-hmm. You know, we're talking, how does the arm strength? What are we talking about? We're talking different pitches, talking hitting styles. Both of them, you know, I'm talking my two boys and Wheeler involved. They're watching each other. They're helping each other out. They're chirping at each other just to kind of simulate and stuff and everything. And it's just that step. You know, we hear every manager that's come on here has literally said, you know, I haven't picked up a wiffle ball or I haven't picked up a bat or everything like that. I know. Do what? Yeah, that's definitely not true with us. Guys. I know you have. I know I have. I've got to take it a little bit slower. You know, obviously I don't take as many hacks in there, but I'm at least in there seeing live pitching. But you know, it's one of those things to where we still know the rule of thumb with me. I'm going to run into a couple, right? So, and that's what's kind of been the positive side for me is I've run into a couple with them, but it's the work ethic that they have. You can't teach that. You can't push for it, right? It is strictly where you got to want to do it. You can't just wake up in this league or wake up in a morning unless you're just gifted, all right? To where you're like, oh, I've never done this before. Step into a box, see 90 miles an hour, or a screwball that you know you think is coming in outside and then drops right in there belly high. It's just one of those things you can't do it. So putting in the work, getting better, and kind of giving the aspirations and the goals, you can't teach that. You can teach the game, but you can't teach work ethic. And you can't teach desire. And that's definitely what I would say those boys have.
Gotcha. So I just want to say, last year, for those of you that do not know, the Thunderbirds by far had probably one of the worst uniforms in the history of this league.
Wow.
Last year. I'm just going to throw it out there.
There we go. This is a fun podcast.
See, I don't know if I disagree with that statement, but I'll let you finish.
What were worse?
No, I'll let you finish. No, you finish your thought, and then I'll...
How
many friends do you have? Count them.
How many friends are you losing right now?
It's like that elementary argument. Right. Name them.
Name your
Who you got?
Name them.
Right. I'm alluding to the rebrand.
Okay.
Talk us through that rebrand.
I saw something that I liked. I wanted something a little bit more life, a little bit more pizzazz. I love the color red. Obviously, born and bred here in St. Louis. You know, you guys have seen my backdrops. You know, I'm a big time Budweiser fan, even though I don't drink beer, which that's funny. But I love the color red. Cam made a point one time about how red pops on camera and was talking about the Archers jerseys, and I never really saw it that way. And then I was like, ooh, it does. I go, it really does. But we didn't have a bright red. We had that. We had that maroon, like the color red that the Archers had last year. But they're going to a different color scheme this year. So I was like, we need to make sure we got the red. We got the red back. So that's kind of where the rebrand went. Thunderbirds is a lot of letters, a lot of syllables. So it's like, the T, you'll hear me, a lot of the times, the T-bird stuff will probably be what we wear the most. But it's as much of it's a non-original design because I did take it from something else. I positioned it to be a little different for us.
Right.
Yeah. I'm talking to the two worst here. I'm talking to the two worst of it. My bad.
Mine's literally a replaced baseball with a ball. Yeah, yours is just recolored.
I know.
Somebody got on Microsoft Paint and just changed the colors.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. No,
oh, man, I better say, I'm sitting here trying to be it. But, I mean, like the hat logo, with the TB. I love Tampa Bay's, hat. It's simple, elegant, clean lines. All right, that is something that I love and adore. Now, with that being said, at first with the Purge stuff last year, I was very skeptical of it. Now, it's one of my favorite things I've ever been a part of. It wasn't necessarily my design, but I put it together and kind of brought it home, and it's just something to where, I enjoy looking at it. But I mean, I wanted to get back to something that was borderline classic looking when it come to script across the chest, little flare on the sides and on the sleeves. But yeah, that's kind of what the rebrand was.
So, I mean, I have a couple questions here, but I mean, you've answered kind of both of them on previous podcasts. There's, if you want to allude to it, what's the most challenging part of being a new captain with the team?
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Really? You've been the one that I've sat here and had to answer this question 5-6 times. I got a different answer every time.
I mean,
don't worry, I've been saving one for you, Pumpkin.
Okay, Sunshine.
What's gonna be?
He's gonna flop miserably, like everyone is.
Everyone thinks he's going to.
So,
obviously.
Okay. The one thing that I have always done, and I have coached ball in my life, and I've dealt with egos, and I've dealt with kids and parents and everything this way. I don't have that with this group. Mm-hmm. All right, I have a group that ultimately wants to have a good time. I also have a group that wants to win, and will do anything and almost everything in their power and their will to win. So with that being said, if it comes down to it, it's just going to be the fact that it's a man-on-man conversation,
right? To
where, hey, you're not cutting it right now. You're in your head. You're here. You're here. You're here. You're not doing anything to help yourself out. Let's take a seat. Let's reset. Let's let somebody else get in there and get it done. It's going to be having that truth, and we're going to find out real quick out the gate. Because this season, and looking at the schedule, how it sits, this is not a marathon. This is not 17 weeks. This is, what does everybody look like after week 8? And then it's either going to be, either some people are going to be too far back to where they can't catch up, or there's going to be, we're just going to have stalking horses that are going to go wire to wire. All right? So that's where it's going to be. My team is built for that. We're built for that. We're built for that winning culture. We're built for that winning ways. Mm-hmm. Got an ace on top of an ace with an ace in the hole on his way. So, I mean, it's literally going to come up to the point to where, yeah, I might not have the experience, but I got the youthful exuberance that doesn't necessarily, they know, but at the same time, they don't know better, so they go in there fearless.
Right.
And that's what it's going to be. So where, I don't have a group of guys where they get in their head where they're like, oh, I'm over 5 with 5 straight strikeouts. Nope, they're already talking about how, all right, I'm stepping out in the bucket. I'm stepping out. I'm pulling my head. Mm-hmm. My hands are here. I got to get my hands up, hands down, because my hands are up. I'm cut through the ball, and I'm getting that ball and driving it, because that's what we are. We're a bunch of line drive hitters. Mm-hmm. Besides the sweet lefty swing of Andrew, he still is a line drive hitter for a lefty.
He really is.
I mean, but at the same time, he's got the height to where he can sky one if that's what it's going to be. It's like I said, I'm going to run into something. Josh going to run into something. It's not going to be the size of the dog in the fight. It's going to be the size of the heart in the dog, right?
Right.
And that's not a damn one of us in this league, and I will stand on it, has that fight that's going to be bigger than ours.
I do want to throw out a fun fact here. I just kind of thought of it. This is the top 3 teams in the preseason power rankings right here.
Oh, we haven't even talked about the power rankings yet.
Yeah.
We're going to do a whole segment on that coming up, though.
I just thought that was a little fun fact.
Yeah, we'll do a podcast. I'll come back.
You'll come back for that
I'll
one?
come back for the power ranking.
I hope you come back.
That'll be fun. We'll have a fun power ranking session. No, I was going to ask you this because you've talked a lot about the excitement with Brody personally.
Yeah.
What was the reaction from your team when they found out that somebody of the caliber of Brody was joining the squad? What was that reaction like?
So I will say it was, pretty much it was you can't go wrong. All right. Was the bulk of it. And when it came down to it, I repeated back what I was told to them. And I was like, this is what you said, what we need. Here's why Brody is that. I love Josh Wheeler. Do not get me wrong, guys. I've only known him for 4 or 5 months, and I've only hung out with him a handful of times. But every conversation I've had with him, Class A individual that, literally is the longer he's in this league and the more time I, hang out with him, somebody that I would have no problems, having a drink with, right? But to allude, like earlier, Spencer and Dom had spent that time with Josh, all right? So it was the argument was, do we take the experience, what we know plays and wins, or do we take who potentially, in a couple years, when we look back at this, potentially could be one of the best overall players from this draft class? Kid hasn't even played.
And the proven culture fit.
Correct. Kid hasn't even. In all reality, I call him a kid, because he's younger than me. But Wheeler hasn't even played a single inning. Hasn't put on a King jersey. Has not stepped in the box against anybody yet in league official play down at Miracle 22. Yet he's already on a team going to UWIFs.
I do want to pause because I like to correct you. Josh Wheeler has put on a Kings jersey. He sent me a picture of it.
Well, all right, that's a good tidbit. I like that. I do like that.
He has put it on.
All right, which one?
So has his daughter.
The purple one or the white one?
The white one.
Oh, you got the button down?
I guess.
I do like the button down.
I
I do like their button down.
I didn't look that close. But yes, it was the white one. And his daughter wore it too.
The same one, or did she get one?
No, same one. It was way too big on her. But it's adorable.
It's adorable.
It's adorable.
Oh, man. It's always weird. You know what? I always say that in his life. And, just like, I was talking to Cam the other day. And his daughter's first birthday. And, there's nothing more enjoyable for me as, my kids are grown, right? So, first birthdays, cake smashing, just mobbing on a cake. I literally told him, I go, if I don't see that beautiful princess of yours digging into a cake, you fail as a father. And he put it on Snapchat, and he made sure that I saw it and everything. But that was kind of neat. But at the same time, it makes me feel weird having those conversations. But I mean it nothing but just, once you get older and your kids are grown and you start seeing, other people in your life start having kids, and you start remembering the times, it makes you think about them.
Now your daddy T-Birds.
Yeah. But what was the question again?
I got sidetracked. What was the team reaction?
The team reaction. Brody? So with the team, when we said we had Brody and we knew that was going to happen, and when the vote was made, it was nothing but excitement. Andrew literally told me from the beginning, get us a bat. That's what we need. He told me that from the gun, and I went out and got the bat, and then he said, good, we got an arm too, because obviously Andrew, he doesn't want to. I don't think it's the fact he doesn't want to pitch, but he doesn't want to have to be relied on to pitch. Mm-hmm. So that's one of those things now where, hell, he might only pitch 5-6 innings, maybe a game or two in the early on, but then he gets to really sit back and just have a great and grand old time. It's going to be a lot of fun. But, overall, everybody was excited, and like they said, we couldn't go wrong with either one of our picks where we were, whether it was going to be. So because of the fact of who we already had and the proven talent we had in the locker room already, adding either or wasn't going to be a deflection. It was going to be a major gain either way. Whether it was going to be just somebody who was going to get better, who was going to continue to get better, because we knew he was putting in the work, and that's the one thing that you can't, like I said, you can't teach the work ethic to Wheeler. And then, or you got Brody, who's a proven commodity, who he himself is putting in the work just as hard. We just don't get to see it because of the fact he's 2,200 miles, whatever it is, away. But, he's very communicative with me, talking about it. I watched, clips, and You know, we've had conversations, and I know where he's putting his work in and how it's being done. And I asked him straight up, the amount of ball he's playing, the amount of wiffle ball he's playing, and playing in a climate to where he can play all year round. When's the last time you have a break? And how do I know if I draft you, your arm's not going to fall off? And he gave me a satisfactory answer to that question. And I was like, done. Because, I mean, that was something I go, because me and him had light full, heart full. Yeah, man, I can't wait to have you. And then week of that draft, I was like, I'm going to ask you the hard question right now. Because I go, I cannot afford to miss here. I cannot afford to miss. And I go, that's kind of where we were. And we set the tone. And he told me he appreciated the way I directly went after it and had the conversation straight up to the point. And I mean, that's just how we've been since day one.
Alrighty, so you know the question. Is this the year that the Thunderbirds finally win it all, and why?
So, like I said and like I alluded, if we're not in the hunt, all right, it's a failed season. All right, and I mean, not to put that pressure on anything, it's just with the expectations what we have, what the expectations we have on each other, and what we have as a team, because a couple swings go this way, a couple swings go that way. Andrew's arm doesn't hurt going into the playoffs and stuff. You know, it doesn't have to be relied on. Now, when you got Spencer and you've got Foss and everything, Foss and you have Dom, you don't want to have, you don't necessarily need to rely on Andrew. But at the same time, when you know in the back of your head as a team, and I'm not saying it's there because I have not had the conversation, nor will I have the conversation because I don't believe in starting with negativity. When you know that that's not there, does that falter? You know, Spencer just picked up a wiffle ball not even 8 months prior, you know, and so just learning. And the kid's a better I would die to be able to have that ability. You know, I tried, it didn't work, I needed surgery. I'll never be able to do it again to the fullest level of like throwing. Now, I never was a good pitcher to begin with, but I could heave it up there. And I mean, I could learn. Somebody could probably teach me how to throw some different pitches and stuff. But I mean, you know, it got to a point to where literally the knuckleball was the only thing I had. And at times, it could be filthy, but at times it got hit million miles away. Jason's hit a couple that I haven't landed, and it's been 5 years. So is Sam.
Hit some bombs at yellow bats.
But I've also hit some off of I've only hit one off you.
You only hit one. There's no plural.
I've only hit one off of Jason, but off
so is Q, though.
There's been multiple.
You guys are in good company.
Yeah.
With everyone else in the league, I've given
I
up.
have two off Jason.
You have two off me?
High five, club.
One was last year. It was when you were lobbing it. So
I don't
forgot
count.
about it.
I
I don't
retract
remember
my
anything
high
that
five.
happened last year.
That was actually funny though. You were like, we were talking about a strikeout record or something, and I hit a home run, and Iconlove goes, "Well, one record ends, so another one can start," or something like that. And I watched that clip today, and I looked like an idiot laughing at work, but it was funny.
That's fair.
So, I do kind of want to ask a fun question for, I guess, all three of us. So I'll start with you. If you had to pick one team, not including your own, to play on, what would it be?
Ooh, to play on?
Yeah.
It was different than last week's.
Mm-hmm.
How old am I?
You
tell me, how old are you?
No, what I'm saying is this in my like
What year were
prime
you
or
born?
is this like I mean doing math, carry the 6. No. So what I mean is like if I was wanting to have a good time and just go out and play wiffle ball and have a good time. I'm intrigued by the Kings.
Okay.
If I want to go out and win with the rosters the way they are now and, you know, fully set, all right, I would be knocking on his door. I'd want to go play with the Melonheads. What'd you say?
I said get shit on.
Get shit on!
That's a tough one. I think I'm between two teams. And not just because he mentioned my team, but I do enjoy a lot of the players the Thunderbirds have.
I know. I'm worried about him. About him stealing my players.
Well, I mean, I think I did tell him it's a good thing he signed Spencer and Dom to multi-year contracts because I could convince them to come play with me.
Collusion.
But they are both. They're both really cool guys. I like hanging out with them. Andrew, I would love to play with Andrew just because it'd be fun to talk some trash on the same side for once. I don't care about Rodgers, but no, sorry.
Damn.
The Thunderbirds are definitely up there. It would also it's hard to say for someone like me that it wouldn't be fun to go play with the Purge. They've got some electric arms, and then I could just bat.
Wow, that would
be a blast. And I already know what it's like to play with Caleb, but then you give me Colin also. I think not only would it be a fun season, and I would only have to focus on hitting, but I even know from just short conversations I've had with Colin in his first year, I think I could work with him and get him hitting as well. Because even just small little things, I told him in year 1, he started making more contact after. Yeah. You give me a little bit of time with both those guys, I think I can turn them into hitters, and you have 2 electric arms that are just a lot of fun to play with. Not to mention that Colin is the best looking guy in the league, so that doesn't hurt.
He is, dude. I mean, I don't know where he
gets it from either, though. Tom's ugly as... I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, but no, Colin, best looking guy in the league.
And that's the cold open.
Oh, man, you're gonna have lots of shoes from
with no warning. That's all it is. That's
right.
all it
that's
is.
The
Tom's
it's just cut and Tom's ugly in the intro.
Oh
man!
All right, Q. Who are you playing with?
Man, honestly, it's tough. I got it between probably 3, and I think the third one would be surprising to everybody. I would have to say either you guys, the Melonheads.
I've seen that coming a long time ago.
And then the Purge, and probably the Bombers. Playing with the Bombers would be probably the third pick.
There has been no players ever to say they want to play with the Bombers. It's insane.
Wow.
You are the first. Congratulations on the Mo Wiff record.
It can't happen because it can't happen, and it probably most likely.
What do you mean? You wouldn't be the first son to be traded by his father.
Tom has offered actually multiple times to trade me for Colin.
Dude, he literally,
legitimately. I've been sitting in a booth with my dad at Buffalo Wild Wings, and my dad called Tom. I forget for what on speaker. He goes, Tom goes, "Hey, what's up?" My dad goes, "Oh, nothing. Buffalo Wild Wings." He goes, "My son for your son?" And my dad was like, "What?" I just invited you to come eat at Buffalo
That's
Wild
wild
Wings.
to me, and it makes me question Tom's ability to trade at all. That's insane.
That would be, dude.
It's so lopsided. It's ridiculous.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I've said here, on any given night, Cam Smith he's like Toby Keith. Any given night, Cam can be the best damn pitcher that we have in this league.
I didn't know Toby Keith could pitch.
Know what I'm saying? He's not as good as he once was, but he's good once as he ever was.
Yeah,
That's
that makes
what I mean.
A lot of sense.
And I mean, I'm not saying, dude, we're still only 2 years removed away, or 2 or 3 years removed away of Cam being in the national spotlight for national.
No, there have been many players that. So honestly, I had the fear after, like, when I first joined the league as a captain, I had the fear that everybody would just want to play with Cam. Like, I had the why wouldn't you? Because like Cam was electric, he was known. Like it was. I thought that was the go-to destination for anyone joining the league, that free agents were just going to flock to him. Right. What I love is that we've got competitors that want to play against the best. Right. Not always for the best.
Cam is number 1 on my list of people I would love to take deep. I mean, I'm not going to lie, and that's just the competitor of it. And I mean, I've got very specific celebrations in mindset for when I take Cam deep. If I get a chance to take Rory deep, I already told Rory.
To think about that, don't you?
Oh, I do.
In between home runs.
Dang.
See, I had like I had like a list, and Cam was at the top just because he was the first player I ever went against in Mo Wiff, but I couldn't celebrate because we were losing.
I don't think I've taken him deep, but I've got 5 or 6 career hits off him. I think I had 3 in a game off of him.
Yeah.
I want my celebration that I had planned for you, if I ever took you deep, got ruined because of Saggio, so Saggio got it. But that's still.
I was gonna say I don't remember you doing.
I wish that camera from the back I could find a good still where we could clear it up because I'd frame it. I'd ask Tony.
I was
to
gonna say
sign
because
it.
you sent me a GIF.
I said the GIF of me doing it.
Of you flipping them off.
Yeah, I was trying to.
The GIF is hilarious, though.
I was trying to not tell everybody what I did, but I mean, it's not my proudest moment as for the kids to see, but at the same time, it was fun. But.
I was gonna say kids nowadays do that all the time.
I know, but I mean, trying to set the right example, right? You know, I coach 12U baseball right now. I need to make sure these boys are playing the game the right way.
Bro,
not the
these
way...
kids have access to the internet.
Yeah, well, I'm fully aware of that. I know that.
Like,
But it's still, you know, it's one of those things where they want to skip A, B, C and go straight to, you know, X, Y, Z. You know,
Straight
can't
to
do it.
skibbity
You got to
toilet.
get there. Straight skip.
I don't actually know what that
I'm very
means.
sorry.
I just know that it's like a head in a toilet and it was on Fortnite. So.
that's literally all I know about it.
That's the full extent of what I've seen.
Oh,
My
man.
wife is the one who actually plays Fortnite in our house.
I wonder if we
That's
could...
the only game she'll play. Weird fun fact for you.
Okay. Got you.
Jason's wife, big Fortnite gamer.
What else you got for me, Q?
I mean, who's on the bump?
Who's on bump night 1?
Yeah.
Spencer Foss.
Okay.
Shout out Spencer Foss.
Shout out
100%.
Spencer Foss.
Spencer Foss, I mean, he's the one that's, I mean, not saying anything about Dom whatsoever.
Yeah, he is.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying anything. It's just the
Literally
way,
not saying a word.
the way to where how I want to keep, how I want to run it, and how I want to set the lineup, and everything for night 1. Spencer on the mound makes the most sense. And you know what? Shit, I could put their names in a hat, shake it around, and pick one. But I mean, I'll live.
Josh Rogers, night 1.
No, I meant out.
Wouldn't that be,
Respectfully,
Out of nowhere,
respectfully,
Josh is healthy.
wouldn't that would suck for everybody else?
if Rogers could pitch too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to
That'd be
text
fun,
Rogers and let him know how often his name came up in the podcast.
I
He
know,
should
right?
watch it.
I think
Just
he
this
is.
one
Actually, I
episode.
think he has been watching.
Okay. Shout out Rogers.
I think. I hope so. I hope everybody's watching, honestly. But I mean, whatever. Different strokes for different folks.
I mean, if you're not, just,
I'm gonna ask.
We know Jackson
retired.
Crosley's not because he's a kid.
I don't know that for sure.
What if Jackson, like, low-key knows more about this league than anybody? but he
Right,
just
he's
doesn't
like
tell
Rain
anyone?
Man of this league, but
Whoa.
He can, like, tell you everyone's stats.
What are you trying to say?
not
Exactly
that
what he said.
he's really smart.
Okay, gotcha. Very-
What are you trying to say?
I was trying to clarify what. Keith
I know
said.
what he was alluding to, but I just meant
Alluding
with
to
the
what?
brain-
I just wanted to
meant
know the
being really-
answer.
I meant being really smart.
Crosley, dude, I love talking to Crosley. I've gotten to do it a couple times. Got to talk to him, and he
he's
is
just
one of
so
my
nice.
favorite things. He is so nice. Like I literally put a camera in his face right after he hit his double in the championship.
I know.
I go,
I said that.
How does it
video.
make you feel to know that you have the 2 game-winning hits right now? If this is how it finishes, he's like, "Let's go!" And he gets in my face. He goes,
He's so funny,
and he
dude.
looks at me. He goes, "Oh, you were recording?" He goes, "I'd have given you more than that." And I was like, "No, you gave me exactly what I wanted."
That's
It
awesome.
was perfect.
His interview with you after the first game, he goes,
game,
I
yeah.
was hoping I didn't say anything too vulgar. He was like, yeah, Tony, what's
Oh my
up,
god.
dude?
I don't know that there's any... That might actually be the best shot we have in Mo Wiff, is him hitting Tony and then the reaction of the whole mojo
Yeah.
when it happens. Like, that may be
That
the
was-
best shot we have as far as, like, in the moment, like, cool clips.
I do want to say, my favorite like championship, I would say to watch, was the one that you guys won.
It was a lot of fun.
I mean, from
It's
like,
because it's from the beginning of where it starts
Mhm.
with Rory saying, you know, this is gonna take more than memes and peanut butter,
even that, like,
and I was like, ooh.
Honestly, the thing is, the best part is, as the editor for that, I did not know that they both basically said the same thing in their interviews. So when I got to it, I was like, no way. Did Rory sit there and say it's going to take more than memes and peanut butter? And then Bogat goes up there and says, we're all about memes and peanut butter, basically.
It's perfect though.
And it was just like, as soon as I saw that, I said, well, there's a whole bunch of TikTok clips.
Content gets created in natural. Good content is made in natural.
And team
reaction.
culture.
We've talked enough
Good
about
team
culture.
culture. Good
talked-
team culture's created,
we-
man.
we-
that's the Melonheads mantra this year is just team culture.
We've got it. You
Team
don't. It's
culture.
like
that
that.
no, it's not Team Jif anymore. It's team culture.
Oh no, it's still
That's
Team
what
Jif.
it-
for
It,
them.
it's
That's-
you want our culture.
Yeah, Jif will never go away, and I'm not even on the team, and I know this. You can't get rid of that.
Oh man.
Where did you get Jif? That's the question. For you.
So honestly, we're not even 100% sure how it started, but I'm pretty sure this is the most Melonhead story.
Is
of all
it
time.
from the word GIF and you guys thought
No.
it was GIF? No,
No.
that's all. That's what I, thought it was.
I asked Jimmy that if that's
No,
what it was, and Jimmy's like, I don't even know.
The best origin story that we have come up with was that there was a night that during the game,
You were gonna pause it?
we started talking about dogs licking peanut butter off of.
Okay. Okay.
And while this conversation is happening, we are like teeing off and like winning a game. And we're just over on the sideline talking about covering yourself with Jif and stuff, like cracking up about dogs and peanut butter and stuff. And then it just continued on and on. Even the championship logo
It has it in the
has
corner.
a little piece of peanut butter faded off into the back. There's a peanut butter jar faded off into the background of our championship logo.
Oh my god.
I just want to say, speaking of that logo, I think I'm the only one to notice that there was a sticker on one of the poles.
That was Bogad.
It was Bogad?
He put it on a pole when we played at the dirt field. He put it on one of those dugout poles. He put our championship sticker on the dugout pole, like the 1 week he showed up.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that was the GIF story. That's the GIF of it.
The GIF of it.
And with that, I think that's the perfect way to end tonight's episode. But no, first off, I want to thank.
Is it?
Yes, actually it is. Yeah, it is, because we're not going down this rabbit hole. Oh man, but no, I want to thank Andrew Nichols and Jason for their time tonight. Obviously, Jason, hopefully we'll be seeing him a lot more coming on here in a couple just throughout the season as well. A lot of the video editing that is done that you're going to see is done by Jason. So, first off, we thank you for that, because I know, it's a pain to do.
It's a grind.
But it's
not a grind.
We're gonna make sure that we capitalize on every little thing that we do, and where our stamp of approval's on it, and we're gonna take pride in the work, right? And I mean that's half the battle what's gonna be. But like we've said before, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. That way you're alluded to everything that what's gonna be. A lot of jokes, a lot of fun here had tonight. By all means,
it's going to be the most clipped up podcast of all time.
Maybe not.
Too much.
We're going to find out. It's definitely going to be the longest podcast we've done. That's for damn sure. But no, drop us links in the comments. Share any stories you guys have, or what you guys want to, what your thoughts are about some of the questions we had, because there's a lot of thoughtful stuff that was said tonight, and a lot of people, a lot of things what we said, and it's one of those things where. The communication style that we want to have as a league, it's on full blast right now. So I mean, it's going to be one of those things where we're getting closer to the season. Everybody's starting to get that competitive fire, and it's lit, and it sure as hell is lit. And I mean, I can't wait. Only 20 days away. But with that, Q, anything?
Peace out from Bar O'Brien.